God starts this chapter with like, booyah! I said I was going to do what I'm going to do and I did it. Hi everyone, Audrey here with Learning God's Guidance. Welcome to the channel. If you're new, click the bell, make sure you subscribe, and let's dive into Genesis chapter 21. Are you ready? Okay. Alright, I don't have my stand here, so I'm going to try and hold this as still as possible. But what we're going to do is read it first. I'm reading the ESV version, and then I'll go through my takeaways, okay? Alright. The birth of Isaac. The Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did to Sarah as he had promised. And Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age at the time of which God had spoken to him. Abraham called the name of a son who was born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, as God had commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. And Sarah said, God had made laughter for me. Everyone who hears will laugh over me. And she said, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age. God protects Hagar and Ishmael. Let's see. And the child grew and was weaned. And Abraham made a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. But Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, laughing. So she said to Abraham, cast out this slave woman with her son, for the son of this slave woman shall not be heir with my son Isaac. And the thing was very displeasing to Abraham on account of his son. But God said to Abraham, be not displeased because of the boy and because of your slave woman. Whatever Sarah says to you, do as she tells you. For through Isaac shall your offspring be named. And I will make a nation of the son of the slave woman also, because he is your offspring. So Abraham rose early in the morning and took bread and a skin of water and gave it to Hagar, putting it on her shoulder along with the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water in the skin was gone, she put the child under one of the bushes. Then she went and sat down opposite him, a good way off, about the distance of a bow shot, for she said, let me not look on the death of the child. And as she sat opposite him, she lifted up her voice and wept. And God heard the voice of the boy, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, what troubles you, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heard the voice of the boy where he is. Up, lift up the boy and hold him fast with your hand, for I will make him into a great nation. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink. And God was with the boy, and he grew up. He lived in the wilderness and became an expert with the bow. He lived in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Egypt. Let me fold this better. Okay. A treaty with Abimelech. At that time, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander, I'm saying that right, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, God is with you in all that you do. Now therefore swear to me here by God that you will not deal falsely with me, or my descendants, or with my posterity, but as I have dealt kindly with you, so you will deal with me and the land where you have sojourned. And Abraham said, I will swear. When Abraham reproved Abimelech about a well of water, when Abraham reproved Abimelech about a well of water that Abimelech's servants had seized, Abimelech said, I do not know who has done this thing. You did not tell me, and I have not heard of it until today. So Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Abimelech, and the two men made a covenant. Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock apart. And Abimelech said to Abraham, what is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs that you have set apart? He said, these 7 ewe lambs you will take from my hand, that this may be a witness for me that I dug this well. Therefore, that place was called Beersheba, because both of them swore an oath. So they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, rose up and returned to the land of Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba and called there on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham sojourned many days in the land of the Philistines. Wow. Okay, so this chapter was pretty long in comparison to the others, but there's just a lot of juice and takeaways. So let's start from the top. First and foremost, God starts this chapter with like, booyah! I said I was gonna do what I'm gonna do and I did it. Right? Oh yes. Okay, so Isaac is born. It's amazing, right? And this part, okay, when he says, God, and Sarah said, God had made laughter for me. Everyone who hears will laugh over me. And she said, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age, right? So can you imagine everyone's hearing this promise that God said, right? And they're like, ha, yeah, right, that's how he's gonna be 100. Like, she can't bear children, like, good luck to them, right? Like, and now it's happened. Can you imagine the feeling of, oh my gosh, just being completely wowed, and then like in your face. But then not, you know, but you know, the people that were laughing, like, oh snap, yeah, God is so good, guys, just fulfilling promises left and right. Okay, and then, okay, so this part, and the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. But Sarah saw the son of Hagar and the Egyptian whom she had borne to Abraham laughing. So why didn't they just call his name Ishmael here? But Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian. Like, they could have just said, but Sarah saw Ishmael, whom she had borne to Abraham laughing. Kind of confused me, and then I knew it was about Ishmael, but I wondered why they just didn't say his name. Anyways, and why is he laughing, right? Kind of, it could, obviously, I feel like it was more like a score, like a, like, not a good laugh, obviously, because I'm not gonna try and mimic, I don't know how he sounded. But she said to Abraham, cast out the slave woman with her son, for the son of the slave woman shall not be heir with my son Isaac, right? Like, how dare you laugh or mock or be disrespectful of this amazing milestone of weaning, which I'm actually going through right now with DeAndre, with my son, weaning him off. So I know the feeling of completion, of victory, of weaning a child, knowing that, you know, you gave him all the best nutrients you could, and that chapter is closed, and your body is now your body again, mamas. But it's such, like, the whole process of weaning and nursing and all that. So for them to actually have, I thought, wow, they had a feast when the baby was weaned, that the baby had made it past the drinking milk phase, right? I thought, what happened? We should still do that now, right? We should all have a feast and celebrate all those milestones together. Anyway, okay, so now Ishmael's mocking and laughing, and she ain't having it. She's like, nope. And she tells Abraham. Then Abraham feels conflicted, obviously, because both of those are his sons, right? Isaac and Ishmael, they're both his sons. So he feels displeased. But God said to Abraham, be not displeased because of the boy and because of your slave women. Can't they just call her Hagar? Anyway, whatever Sarah says to you, do as she tells you, for through Isaac shall your offspring be named. So, listen to your wise wife. That's what I got out of that. Listen to your wife. She knows she knows, right? And Isaac is the son that I told you will be born, like, where your offspring will be, your name will be made from their offspring. Shall your offspring be named, right? But I will also make a nation of the son of Hagar, right? Because he is too your offspring. So for Abraham, it's that reassurance of like, well, what about my other son? He's still my son. And this little boy's like innocent in everything that happened, right? So of course, God's like, don't worry, I got you covered too. I'll make a nation of him as well. So Abraham rose early. I took note of that. Every time Abraham gets like prompted from the Lord to do something, It's like he gets up early. It's like, it's like, get up and start your day and get excited to do God's work. Right? Like, there's so much time in the day. Like, just get up and get moving. Like, I've noticed that pattern. Abraham rose early in the morning and took bread and skin of water. He took action. He knew what he had to do. He's got to tell this woman, you got to go. Sorry. And that must have just been heartbreaking for Hagar, I feel like. Like, huh? Like, but at the same time, what are you telling your son? Why is he laughing? What are you saying, right? What are you saying behind closed doors to for a little boy to laugh out loud like that, have no manners, or just have no, like, he doesn't have a filter because he's a little boy, right? But most of the time when stuff like that's happening, it's because the parents are the ones saying stuff, right? So although I feel for her, it's like, it's just hard. I feel like that was just probably a really tough situation. So anyway, he says, you gotta go. Here's water. You gotta go with the child, send you away. She departs and wanders into the wilderness of Beersheba. Okay, when the water in the skin was gone, she, like, okay, you're going into the wilderness and you only have one skin of water. How are you gonna survive? It's just you and your boy. How old is he, by the way? Anybody know? I was thinking I should go back and do the math, because I think earlier the time of the vision, and then now he's 100. He was 75 when he got the vision, right? And he got the vision around the time that he had, was it 10 years later that he had Ishmael? So how old is this boy? If you know, comment below. I'm curious. I don't know. But to go in the wilderness, just you and your son, and you only have one skin of water, you're going to have an issue. You're going to have a big problem. And as a mom, I can't even imagine all the feelings she felt. And the son, depending on how old he was, he feels his mom. So of course he's going to be feeling pain too. And if he can comprehend what's happening when they run out of water, then yeah. Clearly though, here it says, okay, then she went and sat down opposite him a good way off, about the distance of a bow shot, for she said, let me not look at the death of the child. Like, she can't even watch, like, we have no water, like, this is just gonna be hard. I gotta sit over here, I need a minute. Like, this is like, I can't watch this, right? And as she's opposite him, she lifted up her voice and cried. Like, I read this and I want to cry, because I can literally feel, mom ever wants to feel that kind of pain about their kids, right? And God heard the voice of the boy. So when this part, and God heard the voice of the boy, I expected it to say, and God heard her cry, right? But it said the voice of the boy, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her. So the boy must have been saying something. Maybe he was praying, maybe he was crying, maybe he was weeping, who knows? But God heard the boy, but then when he answered Hagar, right, or gave a message to Hagar, the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, what troubles you, Hagar? Why? I think it's funny. What trouble? They always act like they don't know. They know, right? God knows. They want to hear us say it, but then they remind us. They always remind us, you guys, there's a pattern. Fear not. Be afraid not. There's always, don't be scared. Don't be fearful. For God is heard. God knows. He's heard the voice of the boy where he is. Up. Here we are again, right? Up. What chapter was it? When God had Abraham looking at the land of where he was going to have his offspring, and he told him, rise up, look up, go, I forget what chapter it was. I don't know. Go watch my videos, you'll see. But yeah, here it is again. Up. The voice of the boy where he is. Up, right? He heard, lift up the boy, and hold him fast with your hand. Hold his hand the same way Jesus holds our hand. It reminds me of, like, later, right, in the New Testament, when Peter in the hand story, walking the water. Yeah. Anyway, okay, lift up the boy. Mind you, I've read some of the New Testament, so I do know a few stories here and there. Okay, but we're reading beginning to end all the way through. All right. Okay, so lift up the boy and hold him fast with your hand, for I will make him into a great nation. So I will fulfill a promise Get up, stop pouting, stop weeping, don't be afraid. God is here. God hears your prayer. He hears you. He hears you. Then God opened her eyes and she saw a well of water. Boom! Right there. He provided right then and there. Boom. You need water? I got your back. And she went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink. Can you imagine? Just, you're so grateful in that moment of just like pouring that water in that boy's mouth and just being so blessed and so grateful and feeling the gratitude, right? And God was with the boy, and he grew up. He lived in the wilderness and became an expert with the bow. He lived in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Egypt. Okay, next we move on to a treaty with Abimelech. At the time, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, God is with you in all that you do. Now therefore swear to me and hereby God that you will not deal falsely with me or my descendants or with my posterity, but as I have dealt kindly with you, so you will deal with me in the land where you have sojourned. And Abraham said, I will swear. So basically Abimelech's like, dude, you've got this, like God has got you covered. And I was really nice to you with this whole thing that happened in chapter 20, where, go check that video out. But basically, the same thing, he tells him that Sarah's his sister. And then I'm paraphrasing. Go watch that. Go watch that after this. But they handled it well, right? Abimelech and Abraham, they were able to resolve and be civil. And so Abraham agrees. Yeah, I'll swear. Then Abraham reproved Abimelech but Abraham brought this up, right? He's like, well, but one of your servants has seized a well. Abraham's like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. Like, what? I'm just hearing this for the first time. Right? And so Abraham took sheep and oxen, gave them to Abimelech, and the two men made a covenant. So he uses the number 7 here. Abraham set 7 ewe lambs. 17, back to the days of Noah, right? That 7:17, like 7 has significance for sure. Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock apart, and Abimelech said to Abraham, what is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs that you have set apart? These 7 ewe lambs will take from my hand, that this may be a witness for that I dug this well. Therefore that place was called Beersheba, was called Beersheba, because there both of them swore an oath. So they're making proof of this oath that they swore together by having the well there. Then Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, rose up and returned to the land of Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree. I don't know what kind of tree that is. I want to look it up. In Beersheba, and called there on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham sojourned many days in the land of the Philistines. So they made this promise to each other, this covenant, that they'll be cool with each other. And they've got the proof of the well there. And then Abraham goes with them. And Abraham sojourned many days in the land of the Philistines, and that's where they went. So I'm assuming they all went together. Maybe he joined them later. I don't know. But yeah, that's the end of that chapter. And it's just, you guys, more and more proof of that God fulfills his promises. When he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. Don't doubt him. When you're having a hard time and you feel like it's literally the end of the world, because every mother knows that if you would have to do that and look away, because you know you're not going to survive, you're at your wit's end. You're just in agony, and then boom, miracles happen. The boy is the voice that was heard, though. So I'm very curious. I want to know what the boy's prayer was. I'm sure it was, please help me, please save me. Why, right? I'm innocent in all of this. And the angel appeared also to the person that knew how to give him water, right, and guide him. And then there was a well, and there was more than enough, and he fulfilled the promise and made him a great nation as well, right? And then it's just, yeah, like when Abimelech and Abraham handle well together, after they have conflict, they were able to resolve and have a peace treaty, so to speak, right, with each other. And just God provides. Isaac is born, the promises were fulfilled. It's like, even in the darkest days of despair, whatever struggle we're going through in our personal lives, these stories like this can help but remind us that He will answer your prayers, and He will keep His promise with whatever He's promised you. If God's spoken to you and it's been very clear, just trust that He'll keep His promise. It reminds us to have faith and to listen to His promises and don't doubt. And if you are having a struggle, pray. Pray. Anyway, and if you're not, pray. Just pray all the time. Anyway, okay, that's all I got for this video today. Make sure you hit the bell. If you're interested in watching how I'm memorizing scripture, those are the red thumbnails. Go check those out, and make sure you hit the bell, subscribe, comment, all the YouTube things, and I will see you in Genesis 22. Bye!